Today, we're diving into a heavy topic. 3 drunk drivers reacting to receiving a life sentence. We'll be exploring the consequences of driving under the influence and how it can impact not only the drivers themselves, but also innocent victims and their families. So, let's get into it. On a December night in 2020, Henry, age 27, and his 28-year-old wife Gabriella were taking their 3 young daughters to see the Christmas lights in Newport Beach. Henry needed to pick up a few items at his old job, but he also wanted to spend time with his wife and children who had remained at home during the pandemic.
He wanted to take them for a car, just for a car ride at least, just to go out and see, fresh air. That was it. That's why they went out.
However, the family's quality time was quickly ruined when the drunk driver, Grace Coleman, ran a red light. The 22-year-old was driving with a blood alcohol level that was 2.5 times the legal limit when she slammed into the family's car, killing both parents. The girls were noticed screaming in the back seat, but it was too late. Henry and Gabriella's lives were cut short at the intersection of Newport Coast and Pelican Hills. Fortunately, the girls survived, but not without physical injury. Broken bones will heal, but the trauma will be with them for the rest of their lives. Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer filed murder charges, including double murder, hit and run, and driving with a blood alcohol level of at least 0.20, which is 2.5 times the legal limit. Grace Coleman was placed in front of a courtroom full of family and friends 2 years later, and they had some things to say.
Those beautiful girls will never have their parents from their major moments of their lives. Who is going to walk them down the aisle if they ever get married? Who is going to dance with them at their quinceañera?
December 9th, 2020, I received a phone call to give me the saddest news.
Un dolor que jamás podré superar.
It was the worst thing that I could have heard, a pain that I will never be able to overcome.
My name is Emma Sofia. I write this letter because I miss my mom. My name is Elena. I miss my mom and my dad. I feel sad when the accident happened.
It wasn't just family and friends who were moved by her sentence of 21 years to life in prison. The judge was moved as well.
Sense strongly that they would want you to continue to live your lives with joy, to appreciate every day, to raise those precious girls. I'm sorry.
Everyone's voices are filled with emotion, including the judges. It's mind-boggling how quickly 3 kids can become orphans. This is a look at the devastation caused by our next suspect's poor decisions. However, choices aside, there are numerous flaws that have led to this point. There were multiple bars, multiple prayers, and multiple decisions made by many parties that led to this life-changing moment. Who will be held accountable? In September of 2018, Denver witnessed yet another drunk driving accident that claimed the life of another young person. But if certain decisions had been made prior to the morning of the 30th, I believe we could all agree that Angela Wimmer, age 25, would still be alive to live out her life's dreams. Todd Krasinski, age 47, woke up that morning, put on his Green Bay Packers jersey, and went out to watch football and drink. Todd had left the 3rd bar at 12:39 p.m., having consumed a total of 16 drinks. So, first and foremost, why didn't any of the bartenders notice that he was already drunk, and why didn't anyone call authorities when he was driving? He then climbed into his landscaping vehicle. Back to Angela. She was driving her new master home from church when she stopped at a red light on Colfax and Kipling, and it hit her at 60 miles per hour, sending her into a 44-mile-per-hour slide that hit 3 other vehicles. Todd wasn't trying to stay while EMTs fought to save Angela's life.
Around Memphis, Texas, when we got the call that there'd been an accident and she was...
She was a critical, they said, the policeman said that she had been in a car accident and that she was in surgery and she was having brain surgery. And he said that she had passed away. So that was the most horrible. I think that's the worst thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life.
This was not his first offense. He had a lengthy criminal record. 6 prior DUIs, and not a single judge said this is enough. Wow. Nobody can argue that this could not have been avoided. Todd was given the opportunity to say a few words before being sentenced to life in prison.
It's apologizing to the Wimmer family. I am so remorseful and so sorry that I did what I did. I woke up in a hospital room, looking at a TV, watching the news in the morning to see what I had done. That is how I found out when I did what I did. I do not feel that I am a victim. The victim has passed away because of my ignorance, and I am so truly sorry to the family, to everybody else affected, to Miss Martinez, and I am so sorry for how much I'm hurting you, and I hope you heal fast in every way. I've struggled with alcoholism my whole life. It was never, ever my intent to get up that morning and hurt anyone. Whether I live 30, 40, 50 years behind walls, I won't let this moment fade like I did my other DUIs. I will let this sting, and I will turn it into everything I can do to honor Angela Wimmer in some sort of way.
At the very least, he recognized his error and will pay for it for the rest of his life. But who do you believe could have prevented the death of another young person? This is Tanner Dashner, 21 years old. He decided to turn his SUV into an uncontrollable wrecking ball, killing Keaton Tillett, Anthony Victor, Darian Douglas, Alexis Cheney, and Anthony Martin. Tanner was drinking heavily at the On the Edge Tavern in November of 2018, just after Thanksgiving. That tavern was also linked to another case in which a 19-year-old was overserved, allowed to leave without question, and then crashed, killing Claudia Bradley, who had just become a mother. Tanner was speeding down South 25th Street, 3 times the legal limit and 3 times the speed limit when he collided with the victim's Dodge. Bush launched them into a BMW, but because he didn't try to stop, they were hit a second time, causing the gas tank to explode and engulfing the vehicle in flames. Would you believe me if I told you about a lone survivor? A 6th person who could assist in telling the story? Judge McKinnon issued his verdict 3 years later. Tanner had the opportunity to speak with the families. The families were also given the opportunity to speak.
To the family of Anthony Victor, I'm sorry that you'll never be able to see your son again. I'm sorry that you'll never get to see him smile or hear him laugh ever again. To the family of Anthony Martin, I'm sorry that you will never get to see your son reach his full potential. I am sorry that he will never get to pursue the dreams that he had. To the family of Darian Douglas, I'm sorry that you won't get to be there to comfort him when he's sad and celebrate when he succeeds. To the family of Keaton Tillett, I am sorry that you will never get to be able to tell your son, I love you, and hear him say it back. To the family of Alexis Cheney, I'm sorry that you will never get to see the impact that she could have had in the world. I've never intended to hurt anyone in my life. I regret the poor decisions I've made, and I'm sorry to all the families that I have devastated because of this terrible accident. I hope that you will receive some closure today, and that one day that you can forgive me.
As we wrap up, we want to remind you that all of these lives lost and the lifelong trauma experienced by families, friends, and survivors could have been avoided. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.